This is, without doubt, Brisbane's most iconic bridge. It was named after John Douglas Story. He was a senior and influential public servant who had advocated strongly for the bridge to be constructed. Here you can see the Kangaroo Point site long before any bridge work had commenced. It wasn't until 1936 that work on the masonry stanchions began. This is the north side. The north side superstructure progressed much quicker than that of the south side. This was probably because the cantilever anchor attachment was built into the existing natural rock on the north side. The south side, however, was a very different story. It was necessary to dig down deep, well below the river water level, to achieve required foundations for a secure anchorage. It would have been a difficult, unpleasant and a very dangerous excavation for those involved. Working in this confined space with an air pressure 4 times above normal atmosphere was necessary to prevent the ingress of water. The span of the Story Bridge is similar to that of the Montreal Harbour Bridge. So it is not a coincidence that the design of the Story Bridge is very, very similar to the successful Canadian Montreal Harbour Bridge. Described as successful because there had been a disastrous and tragic failure with a cantilevered bridge in Quebec. The entire bridge collapsed into the St. Lawrence River. 80 men working on its span at that time lost their lives. It was a terrible learning experience for all bridge engineers around the world. Subsequent analysis of that failure proved to be invaluable to the construction of both the Montreal Bridge and our Story Bridge. There had been errors in design calculations, there had been design changes made on the run, confused management in the design processes, and concerned observation by the workers were ignored. It is important that there are secure anchorages to counterbalance the structures as they grow out over the river. While the well-known Australian engineer Dr. John Bradfield is acknowledged with leading the design of the Story Bridge, there were no engineers in Australia back then who had actual experience in cantilevered bridge construction. The erection of the main superstructures was put under the control of a Mr. L. Wilson, a Canadian bridge engineer. He was engaged specifically for this important section of work. Mr. Wilson brought with him Mr. F. Bowerman as his first assistant and a Mr. J. Lang as general foreman in charge of the superstructure's erection. All three were Canadians. It's a shame our Canadian cousins weren't present at the opening ceremony. Apparently it was necessary for it to be seen politically as an all-Australian project. This is the top of the Montreal Bridge superstructure detail. As you can see, it is quite complex, but very similar to the inset view of our Story Bridge. The case study of the Quebec Bridge failure also found rigid butt joints were problematic, causing additional stress in its steel members. I suspect that these huge diameter pivot pins staring us in the face here allow for movements that relieve the highly stressed areas that unforgiving rigid connections would not have done. There are multiple pivot pin connections at both the top and the bottom of the main superstructures. We should spare a thought for all those hard-working souls that toiled for the best part of 5 years to build this River City icon. If only they could see it now. A workforce of about 400 people toiled day and night to complete its construction. It was opened in 1940 at the beginning of World War II. The bridge was a very dangerous workplace. Workplace health and safety was a concept still waiting to be considered. As an example, just look at this young guy wearing sandals while rolling his cigarette during smoko. 3 workers lost their lives during bridge construction and many others suffered injuries. One of that 3 had himself been a hero, having previously saved the lives of 2 of his workmates. But sadly, they had been unable to save him when he slipped and fell 40 metres into the water below. He was never seen again. This 26-year-old's name was Arthur Mackay Wharton. His workmates on that shift donated half a day's pay to his wife and child. If you look even closer at this old picture once again, you can see there's a big letter W with the scroll of honour drawn on that deep cross-section girder. Could this have been a private hidden memorial to their fallen workmate, Warty? I would like to think it is.